Hi there, I am Sarah Kolis. Welcome to the Dressing Up podcast, where we talk about all things bridal, dresses, and general dressing up topics. I love to encourage women to dress up while expressing their personal style with confidence on how to do so. Visit sarahkolis.com to book a bridal alterations fitting or even inquire about designing the custom couture bridal gown of your dreams. I'm so excited to talk to you about this next topic. Let's get started. Hi, ladies. I bet you are just on the edge of your seats wanting to hear what Sarah Kolis has to say about your undergarments. All right, so this is for the ladies in the room. I'm going to go through the pros and cons of different types of undergarments for casual clothes, evening wear, and bridal. So I'm going to start with some common mistakes I see out and about in the world. See-through clothing. If there's one tip I can give you that you'll walk away from this podcast episode, it would be to please check your backside and your full-length mirror before you walk out of the house every single day, okay? That would be the first one. So I feel as though some people get dressed in the dark, or maybe you just don't have the proper lighting. You're not noticing that things are see-through. Even if you're wearing something nude, it can often still be see-through. So just know that and solve these problems how you see fit. I will give a disclaimer at the beginning of this episode here that at the end of the day, I want you to feel and wear whatever you want as far as undergarments goes that makes you feel the most comfortable, that makes you feel the most beautiful, that you feel is the best situation for your situation. So I am going to be giving you lots of specific advice and tips, but you don't have to use them. These are just my personal opinions, and I'm just throwing them out into the universe to see if it sticks anywhere. Another one, okay, spanks. I feel like everyone thinks you're supposed to wear spanks with every single evening dress, every single skirt, every single everything. Fine, if you do that, fine. And I still encourage it to some extent. I urge you to consider slips. Yes, your mom's slips, your grandmother's slips, they wore them for a reason. Oh my goodness, I do have several of them and I wear them with all my skirts and all my dresses. It just adds a layer. I also think it's nice for cleanliness because I wash my slips much more often than I wash my actual dresses and skirts. And then it also creates a barrier between you and the dress. I see mistakes out in the world in which I see a lot of women wear dresses and skirts that are one layer because our clothing isn't made as nicely as it used to be. We have one layer of flowy dress or skirt material, and they can get caught in places. I really want to go into detail here, but I hope you're getting the gist of what I'm trying to say. You can see every little ripple, bump, and jiggle that I don't want to see on you out and about. And I think that slips prevent this. And then if you're not willing to wear a slip, because I know many of you listening, I'm probably not going to convert you to slips. I realize that. Then spanks are the next best option. Okay. All right. I really want to go into more detail, but I'm holding back. Okay. So another one you're probably not going to agree with me on is the nylons. I've talked about this before. So wearing, your nude tights, your nylons, the more sheer, the better. They're awesome when wearing skirts and dresses. It's the secret weapon from our grandmothers, and they wore them for a reason. Your legs look incredible. I know all the royals wear them with all their skirts and dresses, and I'm telling you, it makes your legs look amazing. Okay, so try it out. Try it out. I have bra confusion these days. I don't know what to wear anymore. I don't know what's trending anymore other than going braless, which I'm personally not willing to do. I don't like it. I don't like the way it feels. I don't feel comfortable. But I do see a lot of women doing that. Bustier women don't really have that option, and I feel for you. So I'm confused as well on what bra we're supposed to be wearing right now. So I'm experimenting with that, still trying to figure it out. But what I can tell you, if you don't already know, is that small boobs are in. So we're not wearing push-up bras anymore, unless, of course, you just want to. So there's that. Still trying to figure that one out. But as far as everyday clothes go, just wear what makes you feel comfortable and wear what's appropriate for the particular garment that you're wearing and what your goals are and how you want to look in that particular garment. I feel like I could say so many things on this topic that are just, I'd tell you in person. If you want to know, I'll tell you more in person. But because this is going out into the full universe, I'm holding back. But I'll give you just one little tip on underwear and ladies' undergarments. I do often find that people will buy sizes that are too small for them. Like maybe you've gained weight and don't know it, or you're just, all of our clothes are stretchy these days and and you just don't notice that you're still buying the wrong sized underwear. Also goes for bras. And another tip I have for bra shopping is find your local lingerie shops. Okay, so in Metro Detroit, we have Sunny J's and Harps. So check out those two places. I hear amazing things from them. Everyone's always very happy. They will actually size you and actually recommend very specific bras for you. So I think that's awesome compared to the larger stores out there that have, that don't care as much. So I think shopping local is one, just awesome for just shopping local, but also that they will really, really, really help you and get you the size that you need. If you haven't been sized for a bra within the last couple years, I think you really should go and do that. As women, our bodies are constantly changing, and there's just nothing like a well-fitting bra. Am I right, ladies? All right, and let's move on to wedding dresses. Okay, so I'm going to start first with telling you all about the undergarments I wore on my wedding day. Who would have ever thought I'd be sharing all this with the internet, with all of you? Here we go. All right, so for my wedding dress, I had a very low back dress. I just had cups that I sewed into the bodice of my dress. If you don't know already, I did make my dress. All right. So what I wore were just cups sewn into the dress. And then my something blue was my underwear. Anyway, then I had this caged crinoline, and I looked up all these historical details about how these were made in the past and created that exact garment. So I will be posting about this on my Instagram, and you'll notice in these particular photos that I am wearing a strapless bra, but it was just simply to be able to take the photos. Okay. But I didn't actually wear that with my wedding dress. I do recommend that sometimes with strapless dresses, especially for busty women, wearing a strapless long line low back bra if need be. That's great. I do sell those. You can also buy them at Harps or Sunny J's or your other local lingerie shops. Okay, so then I had that cage crinoline, which was all these steel hoops that allowed the dress to be of a larger size without having to have all this fabric touching my legs. So that was one thing I really tried to combat, because I had already been in the industry for several years by the time I got married, and everything I heard from the brides about being too hot in their wedding dress was something I wanted to combat for myself and see if it were possible to not be so hot in your dress. So I walked down the aisle with this cage crinoline skirt, and there was no fabric touching my legs. And I'm genuinely a very cold person. I'm cold all the time, unless I'm in a hot tub or a sauna. I'm always cold. So I had this cage crinoline skirt when walking down the aisle in my wedding dress. I had this big wedding dress, but there was no fabric touching my legs. And as I was walking down the aisle, I can consciously remember sweat droplets dripping down my legs. Okay, so I have decided that there is no way to fully combat this issue of being hot on your wedding day, because I did everything I possibly could and I was still dripping sweat, and I'm usually a very cold person. So that's what I wore. And then on top of the cage crinoline, I had an overskirt just to smooth out the hoops of the cage crinoline. And then I had my wedding dress on top of that. Yep. So that's what I wore. So if you are wearing a ball gown or even an A-line dress and you want a little more poof underneath your skirt, I usually recommend going to David's Bridal. They have some awesome slips there. They call them slips, petticoats, crinoline, whichever. And then I'm sure you can buy some online. But with these skirts, it kind of is, you get what you pay for. So I've seen lots of really, really, really cheap underskirts, and it shows. So just be careful with what you're buying there. But that's not a very common thing. Usually most brides just don't have that type of skirt at all. Even with a poofier dress, they don't want it to be more poofy. But if you do, that option is out there for you. You typically don't wear a bra with a wedding dress, unless, like I said, you're a particularly busty woman, you're wearing a strapless dress, or you just genuinely want to wear a bra, and you can go for it. The dresses of today are very revealing with low backs and low fronts, and there typically is not an option to wear a bra whatsoever. So then we talk about cup situations. So I can sew cups into your wedding dress, which often works out great. I always hear from brides, oh, there's already cups inside the dress. Yes, I know. We usually double up. We usually double up on the cups. It does look great. So we often do that. And then that's great for shaping. It gives you a really nice shape. However, it does not give you any lift. So if you want some lift with your wedding dress or your evening dress, then I recommend something sticky, which is not something I sell, but there are all these contraptions out there now of all these different ways to stick things around. And I'll tell you more about that in person. But if you are coming for your wedding dress fitting and you think that having a little lift, a little cleavage is something that you want, then I suggest showing up with something sticky to try that out and see how it goes. And I don't get paid to say this, but there is the new Boombas brand, Boombas. And I recommend those a lot for girls that have very unstructured dresses, that want cleavage, that want a little lift, and maybe you're on the smaller side, maybe you're not, but it will help push everything up and inward. Okay. And I can give you some more information on that in person too. Trying not to go into super great detail here. Trust me, I have more. I am holding back. And then when we add cups to a wedding dress, it's not necessarily to make you look larger. I know nobody in today's modern world wants to look like they have larger bust areas than they do. I understand that. But however, sometimes the dress just isn't filled out. And we need to add a little cup in there just to like even make it more comfortable, make it so that the dress is a little bit tighter against your body. There are options. I hear Madonna boobs every day with my brides that the cup area always looks pointed. And that is true. I have some easy tricks on how to fix that. And I can tell you about that at your alterations fitting. But one of the options that would completely kill the issue would be to take in the princess seams there, which is the seam that runs across your bust. If you have that seam in your dress, we can take that in. I don't recommend it for several reasons. It's super permanent. It's not something I can undo. It's risky. You might not like it. And I like to try all my other options first before I go there. It's also very, very, very time consuming for me. So it can be expensive. So I do try to sway you to another option before we get to that point. I also will sway you away for another reason, that I do feel like, especially on the wedding dress, that's just like a bigger dress, a thicker dress than you would normally wear. If the cup area looks too small, I do think proportionally your waist will then look a little bit bigger and your hips will then look a little bigger too. So I do want to prevent that. I just want to make sure that if that's something that we do, that you are going to be happy with it. I will talk to you about this greatly before we actually go and do it. Unpopular opinion, spanks are not necessary with your wedding dress. Okay. If you want them solely for the reason of your thighs not rubbing together, fine. But for any other reason, skip them. Skip them. They tend to cause more problems than they help. People especially think that you need spanks with tighter fitted dresses, those crepe dresses, those really smooth hug your hip type of dresses, and they often cause more problems than they help. You can see the waistline seam. You can see where the seam ends at your thigh. It doesn't lay as nice as you think it might. So just be very careful with that. If you don't need them, please do not wear them. Perhaps you're also wearing them for belly button showing types of things. I do have solutions for that. I will tell you about that in person. And then also at the end of the day, I want you to feel incredible in your wedding dress. So whatever it takes from your own opinion, now knowing these things that I have told you, I need you to make the decision for yourself on exactly how you want to go about wearing undergarments or lack thereof for your wedding day. Okay, then there are a lot of dresses these days that are very slinky. I'm calling them the slip dresses. So you have just like a simple silk, like just slip dress. You have the crepe dresses. You have the hip hugging, thin fabric type of dresses that almost any underwear you wear, you can see lines. So I have heard of brides going commando, which I have mixed feelings about, but you do you. No judgment here. But otherwise, I do recommend just a seamless nude, you know what, from Victoria's Secret or Aerie. And if get as close to your skin color as possible, and if you have to debate between two colors, I recommend going the shade slightly darker is what I have found to work good. Wearing them just slightly higher on your hips than you normally would. Okay, I'm going to stop there. And then I know this is just like a super weird topic to talk about in general. So trust me, I have no shame in talking about these topics. So when you see me in person or you just want to message me on Instagram, shoot me an email with questions on this topic. I am more than willing to talk to you about it. All right. So we can get into all the nitty-gritty details. All right. So I hope that this helped you. Again, at the end of the day, these are such personal choices, and nobody should ever be telling you what underwear you need to wear. Okay, but if anybody's going to, it would be me. So I hope this helped. I am grateful that you are listening to this and hopefully considering some of these things. But again, at the end of the day, please just wear what you want to wear. Overall, I have found a lack of structure in today's clothes. We're talking regular clothes, we're talking wedding dresses, evening wear. There's just a lack of structure across the board. We wear leggings all the time. We wear stretchy clothes all the time. There's a lack of structure. So that's why I feel as though undergarments have become more important than ever because you are closer to seeing them. I want to backtrack one more time here on the wedding dress topic. It is possible that you bought a great quality dress that has enough structure in it and it doesn't have a low back, that you are able to get it pulled tight enough to where you can get some lift without having to wear sticky cups of any sort. So that's another point. Keep in mind, anytime you buy a low back dress, you are not going to be snatched. Okay. You are not going to be snatched because I cannot pull your bust line around. I cannot pull your waistline around your body and use the circumference of your body as tension. When that back is cut super low, there is no more tension in the dress and it's just going to hover over you in the front. So keep that in mind. Sometimes dresses, I have to recommend using a little body tape. Okay. So there's that. Okay, that's everything. As I said, feel free to reach out with any questions. If you are still confused and you're coming to me for your wedding dress alterations, I will absolutely go through all these things with you. So don't be afraid to ask the questions. Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode has allowed you to approach the world with greater confidence in your own personal style. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out through email or the inquiry form on the website. I hope you are all ready to go and get dressed up. I look forward to sharing more dressing up tips with you in future episodes. Thanks so much.